Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have NSC Campos here, also known as Nelson, also known as the Demon. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Whoa. Hello, everyone. My name's Nelson. I cosplay as a demon called Satan Man from a movie called Satan's Little Helper. Not really well known. It's, an older movie from like during the Blockbuster era. You pass it, you see it on the aisles, but you probably wouldn't rent it. Even though I cosplay, I'm not really that big of a fan of that movie, honestly.
Really?
It's pretty good. I like the character, but I always thought the movie was kind of cheesy.
To be fair, so Satan's Little Helper is actually one of my favorite movies, but I do have to agree with you. It is very cheesy. I think the reason I like it so much is that I saw it at like a really nice time in my life, so I just have like really good feelings about it. And on top of that, it's cheesy. It's like an easy movie to watch. There are a few funny bits in it, so I get why, it's definitely not like the scariest thing ever.
No.
Um, the mask is really cool though.
Oh, that's why I loved it. Weirdly today I was filming with an influencer called Dust Constantine, and I put somebody in the shopping cart and started pushing him around for a little bit. I I like the character, like there's not a lot of things to him, and honestly I just kind of had fun with it. For some reason I never liked the little kid though. I always found him a little bit irritating.
Yeah, I think most kids in general in movies are a little bit irritating.
Yeah. But like with that movie, it's just people. I guess sometimes people recognize me as that character. Like, oh, that's you're singing from Saints of the Hope. Like, yep, only a couple. But I've only seen the movie, like the disc version of it once in Amoeba, and I bought it. I never really seen it in any other like DVD stores or it's never streaming anywhere.
When I did see it, man, I definitely streamed it. I don't remember what I streamed it on though. That's the thing. I don't know if it was Amazon or maybe at the time it was Netflix. I'm not 100% sure. I know that they sell the DVD on Amazon. I need to go buy it actually just to have.
Yeah, I have it on Blu-ray. Yeah, I've always enjoyed that movie. I always found it funny. Not one of my favorites, but I just always found that character pretty interesting because he isn't like, there's not a lot of backstory behind him. It's just a little snippet of him on I remember it flashes on the news where he looks like he's like a young kid, kind of like a punk rocker. So I do wear the suit sometimes, but I also wear the leather jacket just like he did in the little cutscene.
Mhm. So where did you get the mask? Because I don't think I've ever seen it sold anywhere.
Yeah, you can't really find it in any store. I never found it. People don't recognize the character, but I found it on a website. It's on, I think Halloween Town Shop or something. I'm not sure if they're still up anymore, but my character's taken a little bit of damage, so I'm just trying to see if I can get it repainted.
Oh, okay. Do you cosplay as anyone else or is it mainly Satan Man?
Well, like, I've been trying to look for new characters. I was gonna do the Phantom from Phantom of the Paradise. Is that's another? I always try to look for characters that people don't really know. They stick out mostly in the crowd. Is everyone does Jason, everybody does Ghostface, Michael Myers. I've always wanted to be someone that stuck out a little bit more.
I think that's a really good idea to do because you're right. It's like we love all these characters, obviously, but sometimes there are a lot of them, and it's actually kind of nice to dress up as someone that not a lot of people know, and it kind of also spreads that that character around to other people. They're like, "Oh, who is that?" Well, have you heard of this movie called Satan's Little Helper?
Yeah, it's always like, once in a while I hear that movie brought up. What I love about being in LA is just there's horror places everywhere. I live like I think 10 minutes away from where they did People Under the Stairs.
That's awesome. I am so envious of all of you LA people because a lot of the people I follow, a lot of the Halloween people I follow are in LA, and it's like, man, I see the events that you guys get to go to. I see all the stores that are just Halloween and horror themed. I'm so jealous.
Well, yeah, the wide open spaces out there in LA, everything is crowded. People are going everywhere. There's always something to do. Like even today, like, everybody wants to be a movie star. I was filming some Instagram reels at it was at it's like a CVS today, and we're doing like it was a reel about like like there's a TikTok trend like what happened to you after college, and I put on the mask and it says I'm right in front of a bank filming the scene, and the security guard came out and like questioned me about it. I'm like, oh no, we're just filming a TikTok, and people are like, yeah, well, this is LA. This always happens. There's always something going on, like a music video, TikTokers filming in the streets. It's always something happening, and it's just it's people call it constant chaos.
It sounds like it.
Uh, and like I film a lot of the goth parties here, and I'm not sure if you would call me a goth. I'm a horror fan for sure. But like most of my music's like, that classic rock, AC/DC, Metallica, Black Sabbath, but also you might catch me hearing rap or pop music. And
I I'm not like I think you and I probably have like the same vibe almost. I'm definitely a horror fan. I wouldn't necessarily call myself a goth. I think a lot of people have different ideas on what being goth is. Some people say it's purely a musical um kind of deal. Other people say it's like no, it's just an aesthetic and how you dress. I don't know. I just know what I like.
me, I just like I was talking to some people and they're straight up goths, and all I could talk about is horror movies. Like, oh, I went to go see the Waxwork House a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
No, I haven't. I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I found that house and I'm like, wait a minute, I've lived in this city for 25 years and it's right there. It's just like you never know what's always happening. There's always a street, like somebody's filming either a commercial or cartoon. There's the Freddy Krueger house that's here. I don't know if you've seen the movie House.
Yes.
I found that place,
Oh,
House.
really?
Yeah, and it's in Pasadena, and it's it looks exactly the same. It's a national landmark and everything, and I'm like, and you can tell people come there every now and then. Pasadena, there's the Michael Myers house, and I did a little photo shoot at the Bush.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like what's funny was my mom was like, like this is a dumb idea. Why are you just coming here to go see this just the Bush? And you can tell like around us there were other horror fans with Michael Myers shirts just waiting for the chance.
I bet. I bet. I would love to go see the bush one day.
Yeah. Like and the person that owns it is a Michael Myers fan and he completely understands. Sometimes people get the clippings from the leaves and yeah, you could just look around and there's always something being filmed. Two blocks away from me is the Don't Be a Menace house.
Oh, really?
You seen that movie?
hmm
Yeah, Daishiki's house, Penetration Avenue, it's like 2 blocks away. There's always something being filmed here. Yeah, every time someone comes to LA, they have to go see where a film was being made here.
Yeah. Why do you like horror movies? What about horror draws you to it?
I think because horror is, it's just I never understood why either. Like when I was little, I was supposed to be scared of Chucky movies, but honestly, I draw myself towards them. They have, suspense. There's a lot of comedy being into it, and it's just like I don't know. It's just I always love the spooky vibes. I always like dressing up, and something about Halloween has always been my favorite holiday. Like
Mine as
that's
well.
yeah. I don't know. I've always just found myself be more happy with like the Halloween vibes. I love go to Halloween stores. Whenever I go to a horror event, I take photos with legit everybody I can. I mean, even if the cosplay isn't that really that great, because I remember not that long ago, I took a photo with a character that had a toilet mask on.
A toilet mask?
Yeah. I didn't know it was from a movie. He said it's called Toilet Man or something, and I was like, I don't know, but I kind of love the aesthetic. It was just in all white and he had a toilet. Like he made it himself, I'm pretty sure. And he gave me this card and he says, "Oh, watch my movie on Tubi." And I was like, "All right, I'll check it out." I could tell it's a B horror movie, but I still want to give it a shot. I always love horror movies, like all kinds. Like there's a type of B horror movies you'll see on Tubi where like probably the budget was like maybe $1,000, or they did it for free. Yeah, but still, I like to see someone's creativity.
Same. I think a lot of the time B movies actually are like amazing, especially considering how little they cost to make. I you can definitely tell like the heart that these filmmakers put into their movies, and I love that. And knowing that I'm gonna have to look up Toilet Man on to see if it's on Tubi still, because now I'm very interested to see this movie.
Yeah, like I went to a place called Halfway to Halloween. It's weirdly in LA, there's a whole bunch of Halloween events. Like there was one over here, there was one in Pasadena on the same day, and like people just can't get enough of Halloween. There's a whole lot of goths here. Yeah, he had this toilet there, and he put like I think it's fake, poop right there with blood, and I'm like, all right, it was just sitting right there, and he comes out with this mask, and he's like, watch my movie on Tubi. And every time I saw him talking to everybody, he just wanted to like promote his movie that much. I was like,
I mean, I
I
would
never.
too, and that's a good way to promote it, dressing up as a giant toilet.
Yeah, he looked happy doing it too, and I was like, I'm like, just your enthusiasm made me want to see that movie. I'm gonna check it out probably later on today. I am in two horror movies. My first role was a movie called Death Bitch. Yeah, it's a movie called Death Bitch, and I'm in it for 3 seconds. I'm a gang member, and I get shot in the head, and my brain splatter all over the wall.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, it was a quick scene, but honestly, that movie's getting good attention now. I think it won an award not that long ago, and it was with Kenneth Brewster and another movie I'm in. I think it's out now. It's called Bite School 2 with James Barsamo. I'm a vampire, and um the scene is pretty like when I was filming the scene, I didn't know nothing about the script or the title of the movie. They just got me in there and they put me in the vampire outfit and they were like, okay, we're gonna have a naked girl here and we're gonna sacrifice her. And I was like, well, that's the whole scene. I was like, all right, this is cool. But when she was naked on the table, I was like, I was so nervous. I was like, okay, she looks great, but I don't want to get her uncomfortable. So she noticed I kept looking at the dirt in the wall, and she kept telling me, it's okay, you can look. And I'm like, all right, sure. But I have this axe in my hand, and I'm like rubbing this axe, like we're preparing to sacrifice her. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, she has been naked out here for 20 to 30 minutes. The scene is still not over yet, and I could tell she was freezing. But it was all, good fun during the movie.
How do you find these roles, or do people seek you out?
Mostly because everyone's trying to be a filmmaker here. James Barsamo he does a lot of B horror movies, and he attends conventions and stuff like that, and people are always trying to be part of the movie business. Like conventions. There's these horror meetups. Like I go to this event called For the Vibes. It happens once or twice a month. And it's crazy because it's just a bunch of cosplayers that go to a random alley and take photos together. They have kerosene and they're pouring it on the ground. I have some photos of me just kneeling with my cane in front of a fire. I remember somebody was like, "You want to put a ring of fire around you?" I'm like, "No, I'm basically melting behind the mask. I'm dying." And people are just talking to each other like, let's do this. Let's film this movie or let's do an Instagram reel, to get viral.
All right, let's talk movies. What is your favorite horror movie?
My favorite horror movies.
If you had to pick one. Or you know what, you don't even have to pick one. You can pick as many as you want. Just name some of your favorites
Probably one of my good favorites will be People Under the Stairs.
and
I
why.
Because that movie is just totally like left field. It's out there. It's a Wes Craven movie that people don't really like, talk about or heard of. I always lived right next to that house and like that street where it's filmed at, it's very inconvenient to get there. Like you really have to go out of your way to go over there. But that house, it looks exactly the same as it did 30 years ago. Like I don't think it has been painted. It's really blocked off, and it's always like, like that's the movie I always ask people have they seen whenever I'm talking to a horror fan, because that means like, they actually know their horror stuff. They don't see the movie that just come out in theaters right now. That's a movie
Right,
you have to go out to go look for.
right,
And I love the symbolism, the themes of that movie. It's scary, but also it could be really real. It's, dramatic. It's really dramatic, but it's really real that you never know what happened behind closed doors. There's
right.
always that house that people avoid, and you come up with your ideas. People come up with rumors, and sometimes rumors are true. And I've always loved that concept of that type of horror movie. And it's fake, but it could also be really real.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't say People Under the Stairs is one of my favorites. I've only seen it once and I thought it was okay. But I appreciate that you brought up the different themes that it has because when I saw it, I didn't necessarily get that. But seeing other people talk about it and the parallels between like housing crisis mainly, it's like, oh yeah, I guess that really does that connection really is there. So I appreciate you bringing that up because horror does that often, very
Oh,
often. Um, highlighting real life issues.
struggles.
And people don't realize that, like a lot of people think that horror is just like, oh, blood and boobs and whatever else, but it's like, no, it's actually a lot of movies are actually really smart.
Yeah, well, a lot of horror movies, like, people have their ideas and their themes, and they wanted to best showcase it. I remember, what was it? Was it Sleep? Something was Sleep. It wasn't Sleepaway Camp though. I remember, I forgot the movie. It was a movie where it was a sleepover, a bunch of girls, and then there's a
Yes.
guy. He comes with like a drill,
Oh my gosh, Slumber Party Massacre.
Summer Party Massacre. When you're first seeing it, you're like, oh, this is just a cheesy B horror movie. You know, couple of sexy girls come out, and this guy that comes out with a very phallic weapon is, drilling all these girls. But then when you look more into it, it's a little bit more of feminism. There's a lot of female roles given to, repair women. I remember there was and it shows that, a lot of the girls are banding together to, come and kill this guy. And it's even like symbolism when they cut off the tip of the drill.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about it, and I was like, it could either be a cheesy horror movie that's, basically, showing women as, sexual objects, or it's a movie where a bunch of women that are shown as sexual objects come together and they, kill this misogynistic dude.
Right. It's funny you bring that up because I literally just watched that movie. I've seen it many, many times, but I just recently, that's a pretty good one that I like to come back to. Do you have a favorite subgenre of horror? Like, do you like, oh, zombie movies or psychological thrillers? Do you have a favorite or do you just kind of dabble in different ones?
I dabble in all of them. I think my favorite ones are the psychological thrillers, though. Like, it's a what's it called? Grave Encounters.
Hmm.
I've thought about it, and to me, like, that is the most horrific thing. Like, you can like easily, like, run away from zombies. You can easily run away from a killer unless you don't trip. But imagine you go into a place where you're completely, screwed. You're in a whole nother world. Like they went through the doors, they went through the windows, and there was really nothing they could have done to get out of there. And I think about that, I'm like, wow, I don't even think I would have the willpower to keep going. Because you got like that movie messed me up the most, like those psychological thriller movies where it messes with your mind and it makes you really think like, you know, could you actually survive that?
Right.
And I think about Grave Encounters, I'm like, nah, I'll probably die. And I've been cautious with that because I did a video on my YouTube channel called The Legend of Peg Intersoul. It was a ghost about It was a woman from, I think, the 30s or the 40s who went on the Hollywood sign and jumped off because her movie career didn't pan out the way she wanted to.
Yes. Yes.
And okay, I'm not gonna lie, how this video started, me and my cousin were drunk. It was
Nothing
during the
wrong with
pan
that.
We were during the pandemic and we had nothing to do. And I loved horror and I was hearing the podcast and I was like, most of that shit, most of it's just bullshit. We were listening to the podcast and we had a little, couple beers in with one of his friends. We couldn't go through the main entrance. We went to a side entrance. We hopped the fence and we were still intoxicated when we went up that hill. After 2 hours of climbing that hill and you know, we were sober, we were like, the dumbest idea we ever had. We could all feel it that we all wanted to back out. And we were listening to the podcast with this with those, pill speakers. And everything was completely dark. We didn't have no flashlights, we just had the flashlights in our phones. And we're like, yep, we're the dumb ones in that horror movie.
Yeah, you're braver than me. I would
Oh
not
well,
be doing that.
oh, that was the liquor talking.
Yeah, true.
And we didn't see anything. Like if you go to the Hollywood side, you will smell piss and dirt. Basically, that's it. And we're hearing the podcast, and when we got to the Hollywood side, we saw nothing. We didn't see anything scary, we didn't see anything spooky. And what happened was we're looking at all the lights of LA, and we're like, wow, this is during like 2020 during the pandemic, and we're just kind of like, this is completely fake, completely unreal. And we got to the part of the podcast where it says, if you smell gardenias, the flowers, that means she is nearby. And my friend said something about that because that smell of piss and dirt, it like quickly went away. And it was like if I got a perfume bottle sprayed you in the face, like that's how much the aroma smelled of the flowers. My buddy's eyes sunk in his head, and I can tell he's about to say something. And then all of a sudden, we heard the speaker right next to the sign go off, and it was from the police officers downstairs. Excuse me, you need to get down from the hill right now. This national park is closed. This could be a federal offense or something. And we just took off. We started running, and I remembered in the video you could see me almost step on a rattlesnake, but I did not care. I just kept running, and there was five things in my head. Number one, the ghost is after me because of the flowers. Number two, the rattlesnake is after me. Number three, the cops are after me, and then number four, a coup is gonna be after me. I'm the chubby one of the group, but I have good cardio. I just went off, and my cousin Angel, he tripped and fell, and my buddy Mario was like, "Should we go up after him?" I'm like, "He's dead. He's dead."
He's dead.
I don't even remember jumping the fence. I just remember clearing it and just staying right next to the car. And we're like, we just remembered Angel had the keys. We waited for 10, 15 minutes and we're like thinking about it. We're like, I'm pretty sure he's dead. He comes back down. He doesn't say anything. He's just silent. We could tell that his pants got teared from the fence. We got in the car and he was just silent. He wasn't even mad. And he was like, you guys did smell flowers, right? Like, yep. You guys didn't really come back after me. I was like, no. It's if I'm gonna be up there with the cougar, I'm pretty sure he's gonna choose me over you. He's the toothpick compared to me. So I'm like, I took off. I just have to run. I don't have to run fast. I just got to run faster than you.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. If you had the chance, would you ever go back and do it again sober?
No, no, because I watch horror movies again. I see the people on the stairs. I see psychological thrillers, haunted houses, and I'm like, uh, you see all those Caucasian people going inside that house because they're not Caucasian. We got to think smart. We don't Hispanic people and Black people don't survive in horror movies. Even now, we still die.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You can call me chicken. I'll just wait outside. I'm fine. After
That's
that
that's how
one,
you stay alive.
I don't even know if that ghost thing was real, but I'm like, I smelled something, I felt something, and I took off. That's all I can tell you.
That night it was real.
I don't know. I remembered I started reading the Bible a couple times after that. I was like, I don't know. I know there's like bad spirits behind me or something calling me. Oh my God, what a dumb idea. We had this idea of going like we should do a horror like paranormal channel. Let's go to all the abandoned houses, all the abandoned hospitals. There was one in Downey we were thinking about going to, and that dream just died. We're like, you know what? There's already enough channels, but we're lying to ourselves. You know what? We will never compete with them. I was like, yeah,
Well, you
that's
never
obviously the
know.
reason.
You never know. I mean, no one there are plenty of channels that do that, but like there's not a channel with you that does that. You never know.
Yep. I do my first video and then it cuts to it was never seen again. It was either crackheads or it was either a ghost. Either way, he's gone.
I don't know what's worse, the crackheads or the ghosts.
Oh my God. Sometimes they're the same thing.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not that curious. I'm a little more afraid. I've seen horror movies and I think I should have, learned from the example, especially Leatherface. You
Is
seen a
is Leatherface especially scary to you?
yeah, that like it could like how this is based on a true story,
Mhm.
even though it isn't, it's like you gotta know there's gotta be some freaks out there, especially in Texas. I never understood that. If you're in Texas, how come nobody has a gun?
That's true.
Yeah, you
Well,
you seen a
I
bat
think maybe because in the movie they're all kind of like hippie types, so maybe that's why. I don't know. That's a good question.
even the sequels. I'm like, you see a random house in the middle of nowhere. That's the perfect place. Those are the perfect killers. And I got a bachelor's in criminal justice, and I read up all about them. Like, there's the popular killers out there like Jeffrey Dahmer, there's Ted Bundy, and then there's also the other ones, the ones like Stanley O'Toole, who they just killed people because they were in the middle of nowhere and they just had the opportunity to. There's a lot of like there's the Museum of Death over here. I don't know if I think they travel sometimes. I went to it and I was like, you know what? I've seen horror movies. I'm prepared for it. I went to the Museum of Death. I almost threw up in the first 2 minutes. They show you real like like real photos, real like weapons or like, like things that were used during these cases. Like they actually have the robes from the Heaven's Gates people. But I was like, oh my God, man, the Museum of Death is no joke. And I remember my tour guide was this goth girl. She was a real goth. She was like explaining every single photo. And I was like, because people say, you can stay there as long as you like, but people either faint or get sick. And I didn't eat the rest of the day. I'm like, Jesus. Like the horror movies you see, they don't do the justice like when you see it in real life. I'm like, oh God. And I remember I was like, I spent $20 on this. I'm gonna see everything. They had like real drawings of serial killers, and I was just like, Jesus. They show you all these like things and like, oh, there's some of these killers. They have confirmed 30 people, but they say they have killed 150. I'm like, I was just like freaked out. I remember then they were talking about, there's could. I remember my tour guide told me there could be a killer right next to you. There's always people that that you never talk to. They're hiding another person behind the mask. Like Jeffrey Dahmer, I was like, I remember I was really like cautious of my neighbors for the next couple of weeks, even though I'm the weirdo that dresses up in a demon mask and walks around.
But it's almost never the obvious weirdos that
It's
are doing these. It's the people you think are normal that are going around killing people.
it's always the nice guy that invites you over to his house. It's always that guy. I'm like, oh, now you gotta be cautious if people are a little too nice.
Did you know that right now in New England there's talk of a serial killer going around?
Oh my God, really? New England?
hmm I think in Connecticut.
Man, there's always something going on in
Yeah,
Connecticut based on
I don't know much about it, but that it's like going they keep finding bodies. So
there's always some kinds of things that are going on. I have the criminal app. Do you use that?
no, I don't. It sounds interesting though.
I gotta delete it. No, the criminal app that tells you of it's like the neighborhood watch or what happens around the city. And in
Okay.
LA, it's like, dang, how many like you can tell the cops are overworked here. There's always a stabbing, someone exposing
Yeah, you must be
themselves.
getting notifications every 5 seconds in LA then.
Yeah, and like they don't even bother now because like with the protests and everything, there's always something going on.
Now, what about your movies? Because you have a YouTube channel where you have a bunch of stuff up there.
Oh yeah, some of it was from high school, some of it was from college. it was just me being creative. I always loved making these horror content. I haven't done it recently. It's been a while because I'm always looking for that right group, but I think I found my right group right now. We're, bouncing off ideas, and honestly, it's just a good time. Like it never goes, so that stuff doesn't go viral, but it's like I always think about it. Like if you're not having fun, then what's the point?
Right, right. Now,
Yeah.
my favorite one that I've seen was Terror Dome, and
Oh
you
yeah.
you and a bunch of your friends are are cosplaying as different like horror characters, and you're fighting in like video game style. I really like
Yeah.
that one.
If you
How did you
notice,
tell me about that one?
if you notice the background, that's the Michael Myers house.
Hmm.
Yeah, we were in Pasadena. We're in Pasadena, and there's a video game I like called Terradome. It's not an official game. Anyone could download it, and it's just Mortal Kombat style, Freddy Krueger versus Jason versus Chucky. And I always thought like I've seen concept ideas of that game. They made an official game, but it wasn't that good because it didn't have any of the licensing. It was like the fake Frankenstein, and I always loved that video game. Like I've always thought, like, wait a minute, there were times where Jason did fight Michael, or he did fight Leatherface, and they should have. I've always loved Freddy versus Jason. That's one of my favorite movies, even though people don't like it that much. And I've always wondered, like, like Marvel, like, what these characters crossed over and started fighting each other. But I basically got people like my own friend cosplayers, like, their favorite characters, and we just started fighting each other, basically, having fun with it, like thinking about like, okay, if your character was real, what could he do? And we found the pink pyramid head, and her name is I think Jack O' Lantern, Jackie O' Lantern, and she always cosplays as the pink pyramid head. She's pretty well known out here in LA. She does a lot of conventions, does a lot of anime fest as the pink pyramid head. And I just love like, people's creativity. 'Cause I told them, what would your character do? And I let them, like have fun with their characters. Like they never really thought about it, like what would their character like be like. And with Donnie Darko, they were like, okay, well, his whole thing is about plane crashing, so we're gonna make a plane crash on you. We just found a cheesy little edit. I remember Donnie Darko's movie. I was like, I remember that concept. That must pretty suck. You're destined to die, and if you
Yeah.
don't die, the whole universe just falls apart. Oh man. But I just like I had this idea and I wanted everyone to put their little input into it to be creative. So it wasn't just my project, it was everybody's.
So when you have an idea, how do you go about making the movie? Do you just call up your friends and say, "Hey, I have an idea. When are you free?" Or what happens?
Basically, yeah, because with horror fans, people and cosplayers, people just want like dressing up. I love putting on my horror mask and like going to parties, going to events, and people, just itching until Halloween because when Halloween comes around, that's when like every single club or party, it's all like, costume vibes. But until then, people are just waiting, for those conventions. And I always, like with like for the vibes, it's kind of the same thing. Hey, are you doing nothing today? Or are you doing nothing next week? Let's just put on our outfits and see what people's reactions are to people. We had people watching us like in Pasadena, and everyone knew what was happening because it's the Michael Myers house. People are always coming every day taking photos of it. People were watching, spectators, and we just like putting on our outfits.
So, um, your Instagram, I did see that fire picture, but you also have a bunch of pictures of you in goth clubs and stuff. So tell me about that scene.
Um, Bar Sinister, it's one of the biggest cost clubs in LA, and it's the one that I always film at. And over there, there's like all kinds of people you'll never expect. Like I remember a couple times Marilyn Manson's come with his band. There's always like big like horror events they have over there, and like me, I'm not sure if you'll call me a goth. Like I would say I like goth girls, but I dressed up and I came with a mask. But me also, I always love seeing the shows, and I would start filming, some of the things I would see around me, and like that would be like my Saturday, night highlight. And little by little, like I got better with my editing, and the club, they paid attention to it. I invited them as collaborators, and they would always invite me out there, during the special events. And it's always like, you'll always see like a crowd of goth people, and that there's not one weirdo in a demon mask just filming. And that became my thing. Like that's how I gained a lot of my followers. A lot of people love seeing my horror videos, and whenever I go to a horror events around in LA, they're like, "Yeah, you're the goth guy from Bar Sinister." People love my horror videos, but people love my goth videos, but I'm trying to get more into horror. But filming go-go dancing and filming these horror clubs, like they generate really quick, likes. They get huge attentions. They get really shared, and it's a big spectacle. But using that, it helps me get into like bigger arenas and bigger events. Like I think the biggest event I was able to go to was a place called Endless Vampire Ball, which I was invited to. It's a vampire ball where everyone dresses up as a vampire. I was still a demon. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stand out. But everyone's dressed up as these vampires. You'll see the Van Helsing vampires, Dracula, Blackula. There's all these types of, hybrids characters. And the coolest thing there was I got to dance with Bei Ling, the actress from the Crow movie.
Yes, yes.
And I remembered I was like, she was dancing with me. She was, she had this weird Egyptian dance that looked really cool. And all I can do is this. I can't do anything. But it was just this big horror event, and it's like one of the biggest ones of the you know of the year. And I just love that with like my club videos. It's a lot more. It's not a lot of goth, but I always put myself in there, and it gets me more attention from horror events. Like me, I'm trying to see if I could go to bigger events like Monster Palooza, get invited to Creepy Cons. I don't know. Like one of these days, I could become a bigger influencer.
You never know, and you don't necessarily need to get invited. You could just go and start from there.
Oh, I love to go, but I like to go for free too.
Same, same. I get that.
I would
You
love
and me both. I'll pay for now, but eventually I would like to be invited.
is out like I have my own banners at halfway to Halloween, but I would love my a little flag of me at Monster Palooza. I would love that. But honestly though, it is all a great fun because I just love meeting new cosplayers, like trying to collab with other creators, and I just love talking about horror movies. Like that's why I like doing podcasts. Like I like talking about some of my favorite movies and learning about yours. What's your favorite horror movie?
Man, that is such a hard question because I feel like it changes every day, pretty much. Um, man, okay, so if I had to name any, I would say The Ring is one of my favorites. The
That's
American
good.
version. I have seen every version, American and Japanese, of The Ring, all of them. I've read the books, I have the books. Um, but I would say probably the American one is definitely up there. Pretty much any movie that has to do with Halloween itself. So Halloween, trick or treat, anything that actually is Halloween. I really like anthologies. It's such a hard question because there's so many horror movies that I love so much. It's like picking between your children.
Oh, that's if you have a favorite children, I think that's gonna be like kind of hard.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
like
lucky for me, I only have one, so he he wins automatically.
I think that's a good answer when you can't pick because there's just so many good ones. Like I like people under the stairs, but I always love finding little hidden gems. Like I just watched the Wolf movie with Jack Nicholson,
Hmm.
and I was like, geez, I never seen this one before. My dad always told me about it. I finally got to watch it. I'm like, this probably will be one of my favorite Wolf movies right now. I just love everything about horror. Like even if it's a cheesy horror movie, like I'm gonna give it a shot. There are those horror movies where, oh my God, I wasted 2 hours of my life. There's those, but you don't see those that frequently.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely have seen some that I'm like, why why was this made? But for me, I like to find positives in every single movie because I know that especially for these independent ones, it's so hard to make a movie, especially when you have a really low budget or no budget. So I know at the very least it took work to make this. So it can't be absolute trash, you know?
Have you seen Benny Loves You?
No, I haven't. Is
I
that a
it's
trash movie?
I don't know how to describe it. I have the doll, and it's about imagine your favorite little toy when you were a little kid. Imagine your favorite toy, maybe your favorite plushie has life in them. And in the movie, it starts with a little girl who has this little robot toy. She discards it, and she's growing up from a little girl to maybe like a preteen. But because she gets rid of it, it comes back and kills her. And
Oh
it's a
no.
in this world, basically all your favorite toys, the ones that you hold close to your heart, they have life in them. Like you imagine in your head that they're alive, but they really are alive.
So it's like
And
an evil Toy Story then?
yeah, it's evil Toy Story straight up. And this guy has this like bunny character. He always loved it and that was his only friend, but now he's like 30 years old. And when he comes home, his life fell apart, but he finds a doll again and he finds comfort in it. But then when he's trying to get, life back together, the bunny comes to life and kills his family. He straight up killed them, and it's it sounds crazy, but also it's weirdly in a comedic way where it keeps saying, Benny loves you, and it's just a plushie coming around slicing people. They have a scene where it goes to his office, and there's like 15 people there, and there's blood everywhere, and it's like a musical too.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and it's a very unique movie. But when I was watching the behind the scenes of it, this guy filmed everything by himself. It took him a couple years. He um he used to connect from Xbox to do a what's it called, the motion capture to actually show the bunny moving because it doesn't look like someone's controlling it. Like it kind of does a little bit, but it kind of like it's not really CGI. It's all him. He's trying to like place the bunny, and he put a lot of work into it, and he got his friends to do it. And honestly, like the more you like see of how much work he put into it, like you kind of appreciate it more. Like, oh, this was just a horror fan that wanted to make something with himself. And I like seeing movies like that when you see the behind the scenes and how much love they put into it. It's like, oh, okay, it makes you like it lowers the bar a little bit and it makes you appreciate it more.
Right. I can literally see the poster in my head. I've always skipped over it. Not for any reason in particular, just, there's other movies that I want to watch more than that, but with your description, now I'm going to seek it out and watch it because that sounds really interesting. And the behind the scenes too. I love when movies have behind the scenes stuff.
If you're a big fan of The Ring, have you seen the Grudge versus The Ring movie?
I have same. I've seen all of the Japanese ones, the one Korean one that there is. I've seen all of the American ones as well.
Have you ever seen the promotion for that movie? It was kind of like Freddy vs. Jason. There was a baseball game and they had the Grudge and The Ring pitching balls to each other, and they had the little kid with just tidy whities, and I'm like, man, they should have. He was kind of big. He looked like he
Yeah.
was kind of a teen. Oh my God! Like I was like, maybe they should have got someone younger, but also I don't even know how to feel about that.
So they did actually make a movie with them two facing off.
Yeah, I saw that one, and it was like it was also anime. Remember that one guy that's like a witch?
Mm,
I remember like, wow, it felt like it felt like a manga, and I was watching, and I was like, it doesn't have enough Grudge versus the Ring. I wanted to see a bit more of both of them, and then it just like transform into this weird creature at the end. I thought it was dope. Like I thought it was a pretty good idea. I wish they had like more merchandise of that movie.
yeah. I mean, maybe they do, just maybe not here. I don't know. You'd probably have to like search eBay or something for like Japan specific ones. I'm not
I know
sure.
they have like Hello Kitty stuff with the Grudge in the Ring. I've seen that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like I thought that one was pretty tight. I wish I could see more of those collabs. Like I've seen Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, even though Demonic Toys is I think pretty crazy. But I just love horror movies altogether. I like seeing all kinds of them, even though I there's some I don't really watch, like the ones that have like 13 sequels.
Yeah. I'm a completionist mostly. If I can, and if the movies are good enough, I will watch the entire series, but there are some of them where I'm just like, I don't I don't even know. So, for example, Saw.
Oh my
I
God.
I've seen up until like I think probably like six or seven, maybe. But at some point, I'm like, there's too many storylines going on. I don't know what's happening anymore, and I'm just kind of like tired.
He's still
So,
not dead yet.
I mean, yeah. So I don't even know where it stands now. Maybe one day I will finish the whole series, but at this point, I feel like I have to watch them all in order again, and I don't know if I want to do that.
Like they can't get rid of what's his name? John, is it John
John
Kramer?
Kramer, yeah.
I'm thinking about Kramer from Seinfeld again. Like he's good. Like he's a great character, but it's like he died in the third one and he still keeps coming back. Like in the new one, he was that same actor. They brought him back for the 11th one, and it's like, man, he died already. Like I'm not gonna lie, from one to three, I think those were really good. Even
Yeah.
the one with how it was supposedly the end of it, like that one was a great ending. Like okay, 6 movies in is pretty good, but then they even came out with a spin-off. I think it's called Jigsaw with
Hmm.
what's his name? Chris Rock.
Yeah.
I'm like that one. It's there's he doesn't even come out. It's just inspired by like it has nothing to do with Jigsaw. It's just a dude that's copycatting him, just like the other ones. Like there is no tie-in. It's just some guy that liked the story and wanted to like use that persona. It's kind of like Ghostface,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my God, like you got to give that one a rest.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And especially when you bring up Ghostface, I watched up until six, and I don't think I'll see the rest because again, it's like how many times are we gonna tell this story? How many times are these characters gonna come back? Like you would think they would move across the country at some move to a different country. Like why are we still bringing back these same people? Why are we still
Well,
telling the story? I don't understand.
the one with Jenny Ortega, the one that doesn't have Neve Campbell, I believe, that one was
Hmm.
actually pretty good. And like I like how like people make fun of what's it, the third one, the one where the brother comes out? That's the one that's mostly hated on. The fourth one was really good. They went back to their basics, and I just think like I think it was pretty good. Like the new one that came out with Jenny Ortega, like it was actually like there was some good scenes in it. The character they had for Jamie Kennedy, I forgot, is his niece, I believe. It was okay. Like that one, they're actually doing all right jobs, but you also gotta know like you got a time limit, man. You
Yeah.
can't come out with three more sequels. Like I think they should like some horror movies they should just do one good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like they're gonna milk this cow dry.
Oh man, like there's like there's some movies you wish they got sequels to, but they're never gonna have like a lot of like heart into it like they did with the original. Because
Yeah.
with
And
sequels, they just go for the money.
right. And I think that's kind of happening with it now. It's like you said, like they're not bad movies, but it's like they don't have the same heart as they were in the beginning. And there it kind of sucks because there's always going to be that group of fans that will see every single one, which is great. I want people to see every horror movie ever because I love horror. But at the same time, it's like if they're not adding anything new and if we're just rehashing all these same ideas, is it worth it to continue
I
the story?
It's bearable than Fast and the Furious because they have 12 of them now. And every movie they bring back somebody that supposedly died, but he's still alive. And I'm like, so is everybody just gonna be a family member now? Because even the villains just they come out in the end, they just drink with them with Coronas. I'm like, okay,
Right.
if they can do that, they can probably do better with Ghostface. Freddy Krueger, that one, they tried. Jason, I think with his sequels, they got better.
Yes, I will agree with that for sure.
Yeah, like they got better with those. Like when he was human, he was okay, but when he came out as a zombie, people just like I think that was the best because he was just unkillable at that point.
Right, but see, that's something new though. That's not like, oh, we're doing these horror movie tropes, um, and the same ones over and over again.
Yeah,
At least
like
Jason does something new.
yeah, Jason does new things. Michael Myers, that one was good. The last one, I know they were trying to do something new with Jamie, but it's kind of like you don't want to see anybody else. Like they got to know that. Like you can't, branch off to something else. Like Jamie. like I didn't give a damn about, I wanted to see Michael. And then they made him like, super weak at the beginning. It's kind of like people didn't want to see Michael Myers getting beat up like that by some guy.
Yeah. And neither do I. But at the same time, I really liked Halloween 2018. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Halloween Kills was and then Halloween Ends was even more eh.
Do you know Danny McBride? He I think produced the last two,
Mhm.
and you can tell there was a lot more comedy in it. And it's like, yeah, I think he's a comedian. I don't think he's much of a horror person. And
A
like,
lot of people say that comedy and horror are very, very close and that everything relies on timing. So that's why you see a lot of comics like Chris Rock go into horror. I, on one hand, it's okay. On the other hand, I'm like, no, please, please don't branch over to this genre if you're not going to make something that is actually scary.
it's all about balance because like comedy and horror can do good with each other. Like Chucky movies, like when they bring in comedians, it does work. Like when they put Redman in, I thought it worked pretty good. It's all about just timing. Like I think like horror movies can like be comedic, but you got to find a good balance and find the right vibe you're going with. Like Child's Play, they found their exact branding they wanted. Like it's very comedic and like they became funnier with the movies, and especially Evil Dead. But when Evil
Yeah.
Dead goes, completely horrific, they go like crazy with the gore. They brought in a lot more fans with that movie. The last two.
Yeah, you can definitely have horror and comedy together for sure, but like you said, there has to be a balance with it. And I think at the end of the day, this is a horror first and with comedic elements.
Are you gonna see Megan too?
I haven't even seen Megan 1.
Megan one's pretty good, honestly. Like I saw it and there's a lot of good like elements into it. The comedy was there, but also like I think it was a good cheesy horror movie to watch because people aren't taken seriously. Like it's just for the memes.
Yeah, yeah, for
The
sure,
second
especially
one,
with that dance number.
oh, the second one's gonna be crazier because they have an Android coming out. So it's
Yes.
kind of like what would I connect this movie to? It's like Mission Impossible kind of. It became all spy and Megan can fly now supposedly.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it and I'm like, okay, it's gonna be one of those movies.
I'm still gonna check it out, but yeah, you can tell. Like I can tell exactly what they're going for. Will Megan 3 come out? Possibly if the money's there, but I think they should just leave it to 2
Yeah.
because then it's gonna turn into Megan meets the Kingsman
Yeah. Megan meets the Kingsman.
because it could be that like straight up. Like you could definitely see Megan doing some spy futuristic work. Like I remember horror, they did go with like Leprechaun in space and Jason in
hmm
space. They did do a Freddy in space. They were going to. But I think they just like gave up on the idea with Robert Englund. They're like, nah, that's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
I would have been interested in seeing Chucky in space, but I think that just would have been a bad horror movie, and it would just been good for the laughs.
All right. We are nearing the end of the interview. Nelson, if you would like to let everyone know where we can find you on socials and if we can expect to see you at any events coming up.
Um, Thank you. My name is Nelson Campos. My Instagram is NSC23 Films. You'll see a lot of horror content and a lot of goth content as well. The I'm also on YouTube as NSC Campos. And my next events will most likely be Monster Palooza that's happening in a couple of weeks. I just came back from halfway to Halloween. I love going to, big horror conventions, but also those smaller ones that are like, that's just coming out. Like they're really fun and there's a lot of, hardcore horror fans that are just, dying, to be around the same exact people, the same vibe. And it's just my favorite place to be.